The fans have fought back. The European Super League has collapsed. We've had the Carabao Cup final. Man City have won that this afternoon. Jose Mourinho has been sacked this week. And we've got all the rest of the Premier League action here on Added Time. Hi, everybody. I'm the Mad Dog, Mike Angus. Welcome to episode 12 of Added Time with Powered for TV. I'm joined at this time by my co-host, the Fox in the Box, Mr. Steve Watkins.
Evening. How you doing?
Hey, Steve. How you getting on? Good to see you.
Yeah, I'm good, thanks, mate. Yeah, really good. Really good,
I was going to say, you must be looking forward to the FA Cup final.
Yeah, absolutely, mate. I was obviously over the moon last Sunday. I watched the show back, the show that you did last week, and Sonny was 100% correct. I was going ballistic when Iheanacho scored. So yeah, over the moon. It's going to be a really, really tough final. Chelsea are playing really well at the minute. So, but it's a one-off game. Anything can happen. So trying to hopefully get a ticket, but we'll wait and see.
That's it. Yeah, we did a bit of Steiner maths for you, didn't we, earlier in the week, trying to figure out if we'd be able to get you a ticket. So good luck with that. Me and you are joined by another special guest this evening as well from the world of professional wrestling and a Sheffield Wednesday fan. Ladies and gentlemen, this is Shady Natras.
Hey, nice to see you.
Hey, Shady, great to see you. And also a big happy birthday to you today. It's your birthday today. So
happy birthday.
Shady, the franchise player of Target Wrestling. This is a wrestler who has fought absolute legends in the business and has been around for a lot of years himself. Took on the likes of Ricochet, P.T. Williams, Angelico, Paul London. You know, the list goes on, mate. He's fought them all. And Shady, it's an absolute honour to have you on the show today. Obviously, a Sheffield Wednesday fan. Just quickly, introduce yourself to anyone watching and let us know what you've been up to recently during this lockdown period, my friend.
I'm Shady Natras. I've been wrestling for 20 years this year. Just trying to keep myself sane as much as anything. It's been tough. Just like I've been trying to socialize as much as I can online because I don't think I kind of realized how much you needed to speak to people just to keep sane.
That's it, Shady. I've seen some of your stuff on social media is, really positive, and to see someone else in British wrestling really trying to strive forward and make good leaps in, just improving everything, the things that have gone wrong in the business and everything. It's been really great to see, and you've obviously had an absolute great career, and I know you're looking forward to doing some training as well with young up and coming talents, and you're bringing them to business, and it's great to see, mate. Well done.
No, thanks. It's our role to help the next generation, so it's a pleasure of mine to do it.
Excellent. And while we're on, let's ask you all about what's going on. Sheffield Wednesday's your team. How did that come about? And tell us about your fandom for Sheffield Wednesday.
I don't know how it came about. It was around 1995, I think it was, and I had already delved headfirst into the Premier League as a early teen, and I just my life was swamped with football at the time, and Sheffield Wednesday were the team that I picked. And being from Carlisle, I get a few strange looks when I'm out and about in my Sheffield Wednesday shirt. So, been one of them things that I've had to deal with.
Yeah. So, let us know, how have Sheffield Wednesday been performing this season? What's been going on? And have you had a chance to catch much of the action, or?
No, I haven't. This year, I haven't actually. I haven't been able to watch much of it. But it's just a mess at the moment, and it's hard to see if is it the chairman, is the stuff behind the scenes that we don't know, is it the players, is it the manager? And then we've appointed Darren Moore, and then he got COVID, and it's been one of them seasons for us, and it's just season after season we've kind of struggled, and just a case of seeing what we can do next if we do get the drop. Yeah,
so is it looking like a bit of a relegation battle for you this season? Is it? You're right near the bottom of the table.
Yeah, I think there's not much chance of us getting out at the moment. So I think I'm kind of already settled for life in the lower division now.
That's it. I was just looking at the table. Sorry, Shady, I was listening there. Just seeing how you're getting on. Yeah, so Norwich have been promoted, haven't they? And then unfortunately, looks like it's going to be a tough one to get out of that relegation battle there, and that's going to be a shame as well, because obviously Sheffield United have been relegated from the Premier League, so you would have had your derby back next season if you managed to stay up.
Yeah, that's our silver lining for this season.
I did think that could be the case, and you've always got that to fight for next season as well. If you can, propel yourselves back up there. You've got that to aim for, haven't you? Then
we are a big club. It's just kind of living up to past glory, I think.
Yeah,
tough to do. There's a lot of teams in that division who were, and the division below, who slipped from the Premier League and ended up getting caught in that dogfight, which is the Championship. We spoke to Dean Ayers the other week, and he was an Ipswich Town fan. Oh, we've got live football on at the moment, I'll just mention as well. And there has been a goal, so it looks like we're going to get some score updates. So that's the match between Aston Villa and West Brom. We've got a goal. Let's see if we're going to get any more information.
Goal!
We'll have to do our best
Villa by the looks of it.
Impressions. It wouldn't surprise me. Yeah, Aston Villa 1-0 take the lead against West Brom. So we'll move on to the Premier League in a minute, but we've got a few other topics that we want to talk about tonight, guys. So the first thing is just hot off the press. Obviously, we've just had the League Cup final has just finished a few moments ago. So obviously, it's 4 League Cup finals in the row for Manchester City and Pep Guardiola. He's led his team to victory there. Did either of you guys get to watch the match at all?
I only caught the highlights of it. It was it was one of them cup finals that if you sat and watched it, I think I'd have been disappointed.
Yeah, and Steve?
Yeah, I managed to watch it. I watched all of it, and Man City were dominant first half. How it was 0-0 at half time was beggars belief, really. And I think a lot of Spurs fans, by the sounds of it, looking on social media, they were worried that it could be a bit of a cricket score. And Spurs, I don't even know if Spurs had a shot in the first half at all. It was very, very tough for them. Phil Foden was excellent. Mahrez and Sterling on both wings were superb. And it was very, very dominant. I think the main talking point, and I know a thing that a lot of Spurs fans are probably going to raise, is that Laporte should have been booked in the first half and then wasn't. And then it was either later on in the first half or early part of the second half. He then committed another foul and was yellow carded. So a lot of people are saying, yeah, that would have been a second yellow and a red card. And then Laporte obviously pops up in the second half late on and gets the winner. So, some will see it as controversial. Me personally, I think absolutely the first foul was a yellow card, but you'd like to think that a player of his quality would have then not made that second foul anyway. So it would have just been the one yellow card. But look, I don't think. If Spurs fans are using that as an excuse, that's clutching at straws, because it could have been 3 or 4 at half time. So look, an inexperienced manager. Obviously, they've had turmoil this week in a number of ways with the manager going, and the Super League and all of that. So another year of no trophy for Spurs, that elite football club. Tongue firmly in cheek there.
Yeah, I think you've pretty much covered it all there, mate. It's great to see fans back in Wembley. There were 2,000 Man City fans there, 8,000 fans in total, and it was much better than, I've got used to the crowd noise, but, there's nothing like an authentic, actual crowd who were there making that noise, and it certainly added to the excitement. Unfortunately, the first half, City really dominated, I felt.
Yeah.
And then, second half, I thought City were just plugging away. And when it got a little bit nearer to the end, though, and don't get me wrong, Tottenham did have a couple of chances.
Yeah.
There was a few attacks they had. I thought, anything could happen. It could go to added time. It could go to penalties. But then, City put it to bed right near the end. And as you said correctly, Laporte probably, Micah Richards himself said that, he probably shouldn't have been on the pitch. But that's the sort of thing we're dealing with this season with VAR and everything as well. There's been so many issues this weekend in the Premier League with stuff happening that it's we've got all that to cover a little bit later on in the show. At this time as well, I'd just like to thank everyone who's making comments. We can see the comments. We're going to get back to those at the end of the show. For now, we're just going to move on to and get the guys' opinions on the fallout from the Europa Breakaway Super League. So obviously, this was something that was breaking news last Sunday as we were live. It was all happening, and obviously now the 6 English clubs have all pulled out. All the different comments coming through. I've seen that Fiorentino Perez says the project's still alive. It's still going to go ahead. The Liverpool owner, John Henry, issued a public apology to the fans. There's been all sorts of stuff coming out this week about it. The main sort of headline I took away from it was that it was the Breakaway Super League was so unattractive a concept because it's on so many levels just all about the money. And, I did see another headline that it was the attempted murder of football. So guys, I'll go to Shady first. What was your opinion on it, Shady, and what do you think about the stuff that's happened this week? What are your opinions?
Well, the rumours of a European Super League have been going for years, and I think the fact that there's been nothing so far kind of shows that it wasn't a viable option, and the fact that it is a case of money talks. Were they trying to make it like an NFL type entertainment, shall we say, rather than the game of football? But it's the sort of money that would have that they were talking from the teams. if it's not going to be getting invested at grassroots level, there's going to be nothing at the top anyway. So it was all, it was all a bit too vague for my liking. So I didn't see it ever actually going through from any of the English teams anyway.
That's it, Shady. I think if you're going to put something like that out to people, it's got to be, completely ironed out, and everything's got to be, fully there on the paper for people to see. Because when people asked me about it last week, I sort of said, I haven't got enough to, information about it to base an opinion on it, because literally they hadn't put any, all they'd said was this is who's involved in it. It's a breakaway league. There wasn't really any information that we could go on and say, oh, this is what they're doing this. It might have made more sense to people if they'd done that, but the fact that it was just seemed like, the absolute skin and bones of it with nothing else around it was what cost them at the end of the day. Because if people, you've got to be just absolutely clear with people, haven't you? If you wanted to bring something like this in, people have got to understand exactly what it is and exactly what you wanted to do with it. It wasn't clear.
I think the attitude of them, that they were like, we're putting our foot down. This is what we're doing. It wasn't going to win the fans over.
Certainly didn't, did it? There's still been stuff going on all this week about it. There still could be hefty punishments handed out to the teams who were involved in it. Obviously, my team, Liverpool, the fans, were outraged about it. That it hadn't even crossed the owners' minds to ask the fans their opinions. The manager didn't know, the players didn't know anything about it. It was it was ridiculous, and it's just a real tarnish on football. I think it's it's really not good at all, and anything like that, it's got to be organised. It can't just be thrown out there, by these rich people and expect everyone to jump on the bandwagon and start handing over money to them. It's like, you've got to. There's got to be more sense. I'll go to Steve. Steve, what did you think about it? Because one thing I thought as well, the teams who were involved in it, Leicester obviously is your team, were involved in it. So what are your opinions on that, first of all?
I mean, I wouldn't want Leicester anywhere near it, to be honest. That's not what we're about. That's not what our owners are about. A lot of people still see Leicester as a small club, and do you know what? I'd rather be a small club sitting in third in the Premier League than a massive club, that's not. But that aside, I thought when the news broke last Sunday and Gary Neville was, I mean, even during commentary, was like, I can't concentrate on this game. I'm outraged. I sat there and I thought, he's being a bit dramatic, isn't he? This is just all smoke, no fire, or whatever the phrase is. And then he had a very passionate rant, as we saw, and he was saying, deduct the points, get rid of their trophies, take everything off and relegate them. And I thought, God, he's really gone over the top here. And then the announcement, I mean, I was still awake. It was, I think I was still buzzing from the semi-final win, to be honest. I was still awake at kind of 12:30, 1 o'clock in the morning last week. And obviously the statements came out from the 6 clubs with their intent to join this Super League. And it was Sonny, actually, who sent me the link to the Super League's website. There was a Super League website, and I went on it, and it explained it. And I thought, well, that doesn't sound too bad. Because it was, I think everyone's idea of it was that it was a league. It was going to be a league format, and it was going to be no promotion, no relegation, all of that sort of thing. And then when it would look like, it's just going to be a European competition, and these clubs still intend to play in their domestic league, I thought to myself, actually, this isn't too bad. Maybe it's not that bad. I went to bed and whatnot. And then obviously Monday morning, woke up, and it's just everywhere. And civil war, nuclear war, World War III had broke out within football. And the more that I sat and thought about the connotations of this, the more I realised what an absolute disgrace it was from these chairmen, owners, whatever you want to call them, that ultimately, as Shady said there, an Americanization of European football where there's no promotion, no relegation. And when you start to sit and think about it, you think, well, if these players are then banned from playing in the Premier League or whatever, what that essentially means is that the Super League would have ended up with its own transfer system, i.e. an NFL, NBA style draft, right? That's not football. That's nonsense. And then you start to think about, well, okay, if the Premier League let this slide and they allow these teams to continue in the domestic league, these teams don't need to try. They don't need. They can finish 17th and still guarantee themselves £300 million the year later by playing in Europe, by being so-called elite, based on a finite time in football history. I mean, Spurs and Arsenal. Arsenal, I get historically they're probably the third most famous club in the country behind Liverpool and United, but Spurs haven't won any. We're closer to Euro '96 than we were to Spurs winning a trophy. You know what I mean? And I'm not saying this because I think Leicester should be in there. I want Leicester to be in the Champions League because that's the holy grail. It's the European Cup. It's a famous trophy, and it's the thing that you should aim for. And you should have to earn your right to get there. And that's exactly what Leicester have done. If these clubs want to guarantee themselves European football every year, why don't you go and buy some good players? Why don't you go and get the best players out there, do some proper scouting, like a club like Leicester does, and actually earn your way in there? I know Spurs got to a final and Leicester never have and probably never will. But they've got the same amount of trophies as us, at the end of the day. And as I say, this isn't about Leicester. And, I think I'm really, really pleased that fans saw sense, started protesting. I know we've got COVID going on and everything. It was the right thing to do. And I'm so glad that, some of my friends who are Man United fans and Liverpool fans, even they were starting to realise this is ridiculous. What's the point in supporting a team that's just, okay, Man United versus Real Madrid every season, yeah, I would definitely watch that over Wolves versus Burnley, for example. But I don't want to see it every season. Am I going to be able to see it live? No, probably not, because the game will be shipped out around the world. It'll be played in Dubai, America, Australia, Japan, China. It'll probably be $15.99 to buy on pay-per-view. I'm not doing that. My club's not involved. So, yeah, it was just the Americanization of European football. And look, the clubs will face sanctions because they broke Premier League rules by trying to form a new competition. It'll be harsh on the players and the fans who had nothing to do with this. I don't know what the sanctions will be. I know that the other clubs are asking for the owners / chairman of those 6 clubs to all resign. Ed Woodward's obviously he's leaving at the end of the season anyway. I think it would be really harsh if these clubs were given points deductions for the start of next season because it's not the fans' fault. I mean, Mike, you're a Liverpool fan. It's not, you shouldn't have to start support a club that starts on -15 when it wasn't anything to do with Liverpool fans or Man United fans or whoever.
The players or the management,
all the players, all the management, and I'm just glad it has collapsed, but I don't think this is the last we hear of it.
You could still see something else come from it,
yeah.
Excellent, Steve. I think you've covered everything there, mate, and I think you did really well with that. Just during that, West Brom earned a penalty, and I've converted it, so it's 1-1 Aston Villa versus West Brom that's going on at this time. We'll just move on. We've got a few other things to chat about as well, guys. Obviously, we've spoke about the League Cup final and the Super League fallout. What were your opinions on Jose Mourinho getting fired, guys? What did you think of that? Go to Shady first. What did you think of that, my mate?
I think there's maybe more to it than has been revealed. To be honest, it's they can't. They're not having a bad season. So, has he done something to deserve being sacked on the pitch? I don't think so. But I don't know. I don't know if it's a case of clubs now being in such a rush to sack managers without giving a chance. It as the seasons go by, it seems that managers have less and less time to establish anything. So it is a rough one for him, but I'm sure he can keep himself happy with his payoff.
These exactly them figures that Rich has just posted there: £100 million in sack revenue. Respect, that's that's a huge amount of money there that he's been given. Getting fired. That's he's negotiated some cracking contracts for himself anyway there. And the thing I read today said that he'd lost the respect of the locker room a little bit, and has fell out with a few of the players. And that could be more of a reason behind this. But I think Spurs sort of used the whole Europa Super League thing as a way of getting rid of him, didn't they? And if they had to get rid of him at the end of the season anyway, was this a good time to use that as an excuse to get rid of him without it causing too much commotion with the fans and any backlash on the club during? I think that's probably why that's occurred, to be honest. But yeah, Steve, what did you think of that? Good move by Tottenham. Is that what you would have wanted if it was your club, or would you have rather they'd given him to the end of the season and maybe give him something to work towards next season? What do you think?
It's hard to say, not being a Spurs fan. They're on the telly every week, the same as every Premier League team, and you do get to see a bit of them. Jose's got away with it with no fans being in there, because I think with the fans being in there, other than one or two really good results they've had, when they beat Man United 6-0 away and all of that, the football isn't great, and it's been very, very typical Mourinho. And I think what's happened is football's moved on and Jose hasn't. I thought the timing of the sacking was odd, with the cup final obviously being, at the time it was 6 days away. It made me wonder whether it was something to do with this Super League, whether Daniel Levy thought, well, I'll sack him now, and it doesn't matter how much I'm going to pay him, because I'm going to get 300 million from the Super League every year, so it doesn't matter. I had a feeling, had they lost today under Mourinho and had they failed to get top 6, I think he was going to be gone anyway. So, yeah, I'm just looking at Rambo's
interesting comment. Yeah, Elsa as well with the comment saying the football's been terrible. And Rambo obviously there,
In my opinion, it will cost them a hell of a lot to get Brendan Rodgers out of his contract at Leicester. But it's never stopped Rodgers before, has it? Leaving when something good is on the horizon, which is what he's basically going through at Leicester. So who knows? It will cost a lot. I hope that he's, wants to see this out. If we get Champions League this year and we finish well again next season, whether we win something or not is another thing. He probably does deserve a bigger job. I'm not going to sit here, or despite what I said about the whole Super League thing, like I say, I'm not going to sit here and pretend Spurs aren't a bigger club than Leicester. They are, and they are more attractive and all of that. I think the interesting thing with Spurs will be, is a new manager going to have Harry Kane at the start of next season? So that's an interesting one. And what are the plans there to rebuild Spurs effectively? In terms of the next moves for Mourinho, I think he's finished in the Premier League, to be honest. I can't see any other club. He's been sacked by 3 of the big 6. Like I say, I don't think he's moved along with football. Tactically, he's kind of in the past a little bit. I think national management, or maybe even back to Portugal for Jose.
Maybe managing Portugal, you never know.
Yeah, possibly.
The other side with the no fans, if Jose was to have stayed at the club and they'd won the cup final, would the backlash from the fans come the end of the season actually be aimed at the club rather than at Mourinho?
Yeah.
That's a good point, Shady. And also, you've got to say, would the fans have responded to Mourinho in a way that would have rallied the team a little bit more as well? Would having him, as that figurehead, as the spearhead, as manager, would the crowd have rallied around him a bit more and really given them more emphasis in games to go on and get the win? Whereas without fans, have Spurs suffered because of that, do you think? And, I personally think for a lot of teams, there has been a big loss by not having the crowds in, especially Liverpool. We've, just fell right away this season, going from a point where we were winning 7-0 around Christmas against Crystal Palace to then having like our worst run we've ever had in our history You know, and I think a big part of that, a lot of the players are playing for the fans. You know, especially at this elite level where they are, the best footballers on the planet. A lot of it's based on response from the fans. They're great sportsmen, but they need the fans as well. I think some of them, and I think that's really showed this season. Mark Lloyd with a point there. Spurs wanted Rodgers last time before Poch, and the time they sacked Harry. I was reading the paper today before AVB. So, yeah, they're looking. Who's going to front the money for Kane? Mark asks. Well, wasn't it? Didn't Sonny say Man United might have been intrigued by him?
I think Man United can afford him. I think Man City can afford him. Real Madrid, Barcelona somehow. I don't think they'll be in for him, and obviously PSG. So who knows?
Good point from Carnage as well. He's pointed out that Jose's won Italian, English, and Spanish titles. He might want to do Germany now. He's won. He won Portuguese. He won the Portuguese title as well, didn't he? So
yeah, with Porto, yeah.
Yeah, so maybe Mason will end up managing. Yes, so a good point. I think he's definitely been given the opportunity. And just a shame for obviously John Scott, who supports Spurs, probably won't be too happy today. And be intriguing to hear what he has to say about the rumours that Brendan Rodgers might end up there. And obviously, yours, Steve's going to be a big loss for Leicester if he did move on from there, because I think he's been a great manager for you so far, and especially this season.
Yeah, he's superb. I mean, the previous manager was dreadful, and at the time Leicester were like, but a lot of people were like, who did Leicester think they are? They're ninth. They should just be happy they're in the Premier League. And my point all along, and I'd hope that Sonny would back me up on this if he was here, was that I said with this squad of players, a better manager will get this team into the top six, and I've been proven right. So, and that's with losing Maguire and Chilwell. So, look, I like I say, I have no doubt that Rodgers will move on to a bigger, in inverted commas, club. I just hope he sees it through. I think in the week, the favourite, I haven't looked at the odds for the next Spurs manager for the last couple of days, but the favourite, I think on Thursday or Friday, was Maurizio Sarri, the ex-Chelsea manager. So whether it's changed since then, I don't know.
Interesting stuff. And we've got a lot of football coming up over the summer, guys. Obviously, we've got the Euros, and then we're going to have all the Premier League transfers. And then before you know it, the Premier League will be back on again next year as well.
Yeah.
What I was going to say is that transfers, interestingly, one was that did I read that Sergio Aguero is going to end up at Barcelona? Is that a rumour that's speculated this week? Is that actually happening?
I'm not sure. I don't know if it's... I don't think it's confirmed. Nothing was mentioned during the game today, but I had seen that they've offered him a 2-year contract. But I don't think anything's been signed.
Nothing set in stone yet.
No, unless I've missed something.
I think that would be a good move for him. Obviously, he's been a great striker for City there. He's done a really good job for them, and I think it does seem to be like this season that his time there sort of does seem to definitely be coming to an end for sure. Even just the way he's been on the bench and stuff quite a bit and had a bit of an injury and stuff. But yeah, it'd be interesting to see what he does next. Because when Luis Suarez left Liverpool, people were all speculating, and he's gone on and done great things in every club he's played for since. So, it could be a similar story for Aguero. But we'll move on to the Premier League, guys, from the weekend. There's been all sorts of action. We'll start with obviously Arsenal played Everton. That was on Friday night, and there were chances galore in that one. I saw Saka, Richarlison, and Sigurdsson at the bar with a free kick. And I know our friends Stu and Chris, they will be very happy by the result in this one. Obviously, I saw Chambers blaze one over the bar. And on the 76th minute, Richarlison broke into the penalty area and hit what looked like a pass towards goal, which Bert Leno managed to somehow, it was almost a back heel into his own goal. It was a real botch by the goalkeeper, a dreadful mistake. And, Arsenal still had another chance towards the end as well, which Pickford kept out. A big 3 points for Everton in that battle. Sort of, that really putting pressure on teams like Liverpool, West Ham, Chelsea are all in that sort of similar area, points-wise, looking for that fourth place and fighting for Europe. one interesting point from the game as well, guys, was the VAR penalty decision for Arsenal. Arsenal should have had a penalty due to a foul in the penalty area. It did look a little bit soft, the initial penalty, to be fair, and then it was ruled off for an offside in the build-up. Shady, did you get to see that decision at all?
Yeah, as you say, it was a soft decision from the free kick point of view, but I'm probably with the majority. This VAR, it takes away some of the excitement for me, and I think a lot of teams that have had a lot different results. This season could be totally different if there weren't VAR involved. It's I thought that it was going to be a penalty.
Yeah, we've spoke about VAR ever since the pilot episode of this show, and every week I don't know many people who've had anything good to say about it at all. There have been situations where it's been, it's cleared up a decision that was a cast iron offside or whatever, but your referees and linesmen were pretty much spotting all of them anyway. It's bringing up these ones which are thumbnail, armpit, toenail offside, and there's been a few which are just ridiculous. And it's are you wrecking the game introducing this element of it? The amount of times when I've cheered for a goal and it's been disallowed, and you've got the whole thing about it coming back to the point where you can't even cheer for any goal. Really ruining the excitement of the game. And I think personally, the thing is, I think it's unnecessary. It's you want them decisions to be gotten right, but you don't. If a computer is needed to make that decision, then the decision, shouldn't have to be made. It should be like, we can let that one go. His toenail was offside, but it's more. I'd be more worried about the rules. It should be like you can have one hair offside, but you can't have a boot offside, a leg offside, or whatever. But maybe use it for that. But it's the fine margins, isn't it, Shady?
There's no continuity with the rulings of it. It seems to change every game. But looking back, I mean, what if Maradona didn't get that goal because of VAR? You change the way football is.
You're changing the history of football right there, mate. You're rebooking it, Shady.
That's kind of how I when it was first introduced. That's how I seen it, and it's like you need these moments to get the fans in, to get people following the game, and for the amount of money that's getting thrown around now, you don't want to kill the excitement of the game.
You're right, yeah.
No, you're
I
right.
think the excitement is a huge part of it, and I think taking that away is just for the benefit of making pinpoint accuracy, decisions over something like that. I think they need to scale it back just a touch, just to the point where there's been a few this weekend, but there's going to be another one we're going to cover in a second. But Steve, what do you think? Do you think they need to relook at the rules, or do you think they're on the right lines for it at the moment?
There's elements of VAR that do work, and VAR itself as a technology does work. It's the people looking at it, and I think it's taken a lot away. I'm glad that this season refs are going over to the monitor a bit more, or a lot more, and actually saying, "Look, you go and make the decision." That is a lot better. I think where it works well is because Leicester have benefited and both had it go against them, but it's the right thing. So against Liverpool, Leicester got a penalty, but it was clearly outside the box. So we got a free kick. And then it was the same when we played Arsenal. We had a penalty given against us, clearly a free kick. And I think that's perfect. You can clear that up. And there's been a couple of ones that are really, really far offside, and you think, yeah, good, But I'm with you. What I can't be doing with is like a toenail offside. And unfortunately, they set the precedent very early on, to the point where now you have to go, well, offside's offside, whether it's a toenail, an armpit, a piece of hair, someone's nose. someone's backside. Do you remember that? I think it was Matty Cash at Villa played someone on because he'd got a slightly bigger backside than the centre forward. So, you know,
if you can score with it, you can be offside with it.
Exactly. I think that's the thought process, isn't it? And look, I mean, and you're absolutely right about the excitement side of it. I've been, you know, a season ticket holder at Leicester and pre-pandemic, going every home game, and the amount of times you jump up and you think, hang on a minute, and you can usually tell by the players' reaction as well. I think it was the first game of the season, the first season that VAR was in, so would have been last season. We played Wolves, and Wolves scored from a corner. The corner came in, and I think it pinballed around. Dendoncker smashed it in, and it turned out VAR ruled it out for offside. There was 32,500 people in that stadium, and not a single one of them were calling for offside. The Wolves fans were jubilant. The Leicester fans were like, great, 5 minutes to go, we're losing. VAR rules it out for offside, and it was ridiculous. And it was ridiculous. And I remember we played Spurs, and Spurs had a goal ruled out for offside, and I think Son's toenail was off. And then that really changed the game. Leicester went on to win 2-1. And it felt like a really hollow victory because the decision was so ridiculous of Son being offside, and Spurs scored 30 seconds later. It's going to take a while for them to tidy it up. It's going to take a while for it to be. It will never be perfect, and there'll always be controversies. It's going to take a good, probably another 2 seasons before we're in any position to say, well, yeah, that's what it is now. I mean, I know that we'll probably come onto it with the Newcastle-Liverpool game. With Callum Wilson's, they've already said that next season that goal will stand. So they're tweaking the rules all the time, and it's going to take a while before we get to a final. Right, this is it. This is how we're going from. This is modern football.
But with them changing, as you say, they're changing the rules for next season. You're going to start causing a debate with, well, we shouldn't have lost that game last season. When was it when Tevez scored when the whole transfer carry on, and was it Sheffield United that went down, and they were like, oh, well, he shouldn't have started because he shouldn't have been playing.
Yeah.
You're going to end up with arguments like that, and once it's passed, it's done.
Yeah, exactly.
That's it. And that's what they need to think about, and they need to sort it out, don't they, to be fair. But on that note, we'll move on to Liverpool versus Newcastle. So obviously, I was watching Liverpool. Great start. Mo Salah, scored after 3 minutes. A cracking goal. Really, spun it, volleyed it in. Really good goal. And then we proceeded to, I think, have a really good performance. I thought we dominated the game. Lots of chances. I think we ended up having 22 shots, 9 of which were on target. I really felt like we could have scored a couple more chances. I remember Jota had about 4 chances that I thought he could have scored. Firmino, Mane, Salah, all had big chances. And then, the couple of substitutions I didn't quite agree with again by Jurgen. I felt like bringing Jota off was a bit negative, and but it did shore up the midfield. But it shored it up, when I don't think we necessarily needed to. I thought we were on our way to getting a good victory there, and I think it let Newcastle back in. I think by getting on towards 80 minutes, and we'd started to tire, and it was very similar to the match against Leeds earlier on in the week, where I was raging about that one, throwing things about, where we were 1-0 up for the most of the match, pretty much dominated the game and let Leeds back in. We just went and did exactly the same thing, almost in worse fashion, because as we'll discuss now, Newcastle scored and it was disallowed. Looking back at it and thinking more about it after the game, obviously I was in more of a rage than anything about the goal, and didn't even know it had been disallowed and was still angry about it. But I think after watching it back, I think VAR would have been understandable if they'd given a pen, to be fair,
push,
because Trent Alexander-Arnold did push him, and the other thing was the handball was. I thought that was a bit soft, really. Anyway, and I sort of felt in a way that we had that coming. We should have been 5, 6, 7-0 up in that game, at that stage, and then we were piling the pressure on ourselves, looking tired towards the end of the game. And the players he brought on, I've been looking forward to seeing Curtis Jones coming back into the mix for a little while, and yet he was a bit subdued when he came on. Milner steadied up the ship, but didn't really, add a lot to it for my liking. He calmed them down, but that wasn't what we needed at that time. And if anything, we could have lost 2-1 there, and in a match that we really had dominated most of the game, and it could have been a massive victory for us. And I think that's, for me, watching it as a Liverpool fan, it really says a lot about this season where, that things have been going for us recently, whereas last season, things like that would have gone our way. We would have been 4-0 up, and then we might have conceded that goal and been like, oh, bloody hell, there goes the clean sheet. But it wasn't there goes the 3 points we've just earned for the past 80 minutes, and there goes our chance of being in the Champions League next season. And, these guys need to be pushing for that and striving for it. It just feels like, we're missing just something, and it feels like we're missing a bit of heart at the moment. And whether it's because the fans are missing or whatever, I don't know. But, I personally was very disappointed with that one yesterday, and the Leeds match, both of which I thought, should have been 3 points for us. And, fair play to Newcastle, and, Willock, they went on and scored, obviously, the second in extra time as well, 90, 95, whatever minutes it was. Good on them, good goal. And they kept battling. And unfortunately, we stopped battling around about 80 minutes, which is in the Premier League, you just can't do. And I think disappointing one, but I know you guys watched it as well. So, Steve, what was your opinion on that one? What did you think? Similar thoughts, or did you think Newcastle looked good?
Very, very similar. I mean, you battered them. And it should have been like you say, a couple of seasons ago, last season or the season before, or whatever. That would have been a 4-0, 3-4-0 by half time, then maybe concede one at the end and go, bloody hell, could have kept a clean sheet there. I think for me with Liverpool, the apart from probably Salah, who is still, I think he's still bagged 20 goals, hasn't he, in the Prem this season. The front three are a little bit burnt out, I think. And there was a stat, wasn't there, at half time, and I think it stood pretty much after the game as well, that since the turn of the year at Anfield, Liverpool have had 150 shots and scored 4 goals. And that just shows there's a bit of a lack of cutting edge. Obviously, you've had the injuries, and I think heart is something that you're absolutely nailed on there. Trent's not been the same whilst Fabinho's been playing at the back. I think he needs Fabinho in the middle for him to be able to play the way we know that Trent can. Missing Henderson in the midfield, you don't realise how much he of the heartbeat he is of that team. So, yeah, but Liverpool have been fantastic for 3 seasons, and with the same players, it was always going to be difficult to repeat it for like the 4th season in a row. So, but yeah, Salah's still bagged goals, but Mane and Firmino doesn't score many anyway, but Mane's not been fantastic, has he? So yeah, it was but unlucky Newcastle in the end, I think. But great point for them. That's pretty much seen them safe, I think.
Yeah, I think so. Looking at the passes, 793 passes we had to their 350. So more than double the passes. We had, 70% of the possession.
Yeah.
And that was with them having like the last 10 minutes, just them having the ball, basically. So it's just ridiculous. And I just hope that, they have a break for the summer, players go off to the Euros or whatever. And we might make some transfer changes or whatever if we're allowed. And, I think they just really need to get that the confidence back and have a little bit of a break, because it has been heavy going on a lot of the players in all the teams. But I think, as you said, we've had a real go at it the last couple of seasons and played a lot of matches, especially last season, at high level football. And I think a few of them do need a break. People like Robbo, who I normally absolutely love, looked just a bit tired. There was just times when when he was fizzing passes in, they were awful. It just wasn't Liverpool, from the last couple of seasons. we've really worked hard to get to a level where we were at, and then this season has been a bit of a hodgepodge for us, and just hope we can get back on track next season. But at this point, we're just going to have a quick break, and then we'll be back with the rest of this weekend's Premier League action. So check this out. Excellent, guys. Make sure you subscribe to Powered 4 TV, where you can check out all the wrestling action from around the UK. Obviously, you can see Shady on there. You can see myself ring announcing for TNT, Extreme Wrestling, and Wrestle Island all over there. So make sure you check that out. And there's loads of other content on there. Steve, just for a moment, let us know what content you've got coming up in the next couple of weeks on there. Are you, what games and graps got planned?
So we'll still have the regular podcast coming out. Which comes out every week, usually over the weekend. And then obviously in a couple of weeks' time, I believe it is WrestleMania Backlash, as they're calling it this year. So we'll have the, God knows why they're calling it that. So we'll have on the night of that, we will have the pre-show before the pre-show, where we go live for an hour around 9 p.m. on the Sunday. And chat about the card and what's coming up, and it usually descends into talking about 90s TV and various other stuff and what are people eating. So yeah, it's usually about 5-10 minutes of wrestling talk and 50 minutes of absolute nonsense, but it is well worth watching, and perfect timing, that comment there. So yeah, Brett Thomas is a guy that he comes into the all of the Powered 4 stuff that we do. He's in there with comments. He's a big Logan Paul fan. And when and when we were talking about 90s TV the other week on one of our live streams, he was saying that Jeff from London's Burning now works on the buses, and it looks like he's got a photo with him, and he wants to know where he can send the photo. So I think Rich is going to sort that out. So yeah, so Brett, if you're watching, send a picture over of you with Jeff from London's Burning, and we'll be sure to mention it on the Games and Graps podcast or on the pre-show or both. So yeah, fantastic. Good work there, Brett. That's superb.
That's awesome. We should set up like that on added time, where we get people to send in pictures of themselves with famous footballers. I've got some crackers. There's one of me with Gaza, when I met Gaza at WH Smith in Liverpool when he was doing a book signing. That's a cracking photo with I've got that legend there.
I've got one with Gaza. He
what a hero.
He moved local to me. He randomly moved here a couple of years ago, and my missus was over at one of the nearby villages playing bingo, and he was just drinking at the working men's club, and my missus went out for a photo. I couldn't get over there because my daughter was in bed, so I was like, oh my God, one of my heroes is down the road and I can't go. So my missus was heavily pregnant at the time. She got a photo with Gaza, and Gaza gave us, as is tradition, some silver for the baby. So we've got a 50p piece that was given to us by Paul Gascoigne, and that's going to be treasured forever and a day. So well, I've got, and then I met him at the King Power Stadium a few months later, but I look worse than him because I'd been out the night before. So.
That's one we'll have to see, Steve. Definitely.
Yeah, oh no, I look bad. I look rough. I look really rough.
And talking about rough, a big shout out to Chris Hume, who was meant to be joining us today, and is still so hungover from watching the UFC last night that he's struggling still at 8 o'clock at night to make it onto the show.
Brilliant.
But he'll be with you on Big Fight Weekly discussing all the action with Stu Palmer about the UFC from the weekend and boxing in the next couple of weeks. So make sure to check that out. And we'll carry on with the Premier League roundup, guys. The next game that was on over the weekend was West Ham versus Chelsea. I'll mention as well, I don't think any of my predictions came true this week that I made last week. I think I was pretty much off in every single game. Timo Werner, great goal by Timo. Thought a good team move. Finished it off, controlled right into the bottom, and he should have had another one just a little bit after that. He had a rebound chance that was probably easier to score than his actual goal was, and managed to put that wide. I wasn't too sure about the Valbuena sending off. It says controversial there. From what I could see, he kicked the ball and with the follow through of his leg, kicked his opponent who was either trying to block or tackle him. Now, for me, my opinion from seeing it a couple of times was that he shouldn't have been sent off. And yeah, there's this what Lewis is asking about. Yeah, Lewis. So I to me, it looked like he was kicking the ball and his leg followed through. It didn't look like he was trying to, injure his opponent or even try and kick him. He was kicking the ball, and I thought it was a controversial sending off. Have I missed something here, guys, or is this? Did it look like he was has he done something malicious that I haven't noticed, or what do you think, Shady?
I seen the same as you. It just looked like he followed through with the ball. It didn't look like any intent to foul anybody. So yeah, it was a bit unfair, in my opinion.
Really strange one, Steve. Have you seen it?
Yeah, I saw it. I thought it was an absolute. I was raging at the telly. You'd think Leicester were playing. It's just a joke, and it just smacks of these referees never actually having played the game. All right, I've the highest. I played one Saturday league game. That's about the highest level I've ever played. I played a fair bit of Sunday league. We've all been there where you've kicked the ball and accidentally kicked the person, and you've gone, "Oh, sorry, mate," and they go, "Yeah, don't worry about it." That's exactly what this was. And I think any sort of ex-pro looking at that in the VAR truck would have said, well, it's an accident. There was no intent. It wasn't malicious. It wasn't a stamp. It wasn't a kick out. But it's consistent with some of the other stuff that we've seen throughout the season. So I guess you have to kind of go, well, at least it's consistent.
Consistently bad.
But it's consistently poor, yeah. Never a red for me. Never a red. Probably not even a yellow. It was an accident.
Yeah, I think other things to come for the match. Lingard did have another chance. He's been playing really well since he's been at West Ham. Mason Mount is looking really good. And, if he gets a chance to play for England and, really shine at the Euros, it'd be interesting to see what he can bring to the table there. An interesting stat that I saw on the internet was that going into the semi-final against Madrid that Chelsea have got coming up this week, Tuchel's team have got the best defensive record in Europe out of the top 5 leagues at the moment. They've had 29 clean sheets this season. So I think Man City was second with 28. So in competitive league fixtures, that Chelsea are top of that league for clean sheets. So so they've got something right at the back at least, Chelsea, and shored that defence up. So that was huge for them. Next fixture was Sheffield United going against Brighton. And Sheffield United won 1-0, pulled off the victory there. McGoldrick scored in that one, which was, one of his easier chances you'll see him get. The ball drops to him about 6 yards out, and he passes it into the goal. Another interesting stat I saw, guys, was last season McGoldrick scored 2 goals and had 2 yellow cards. This season, he scored 7 goals. Can anyone tell me how many yellow cards he's had?
Is it 7?
He's had 7 yellow cards. Yeah. So if McGoldrick gets a yellow card in a game, to quickly get your money on the next goal scorer.
He should just go around kicking people, get himself 30 yellow cards. I mean, he'll get banned quite a lot, but at least he'll bag 30 goals.
All them goals would more than make up for it, wouldn't they? So that was a bit of a surprising result for me personally, because I thought Brighton looked pretty good in the last couple of matches I've seen.
Yeah.
I didn't get to watch that one. I only saw the highlights. But, a bit of a shock there that Brighton couldn't take that form on the road there against Sheffield United, who obviously have not had a great season. I'll go to Shady for this one because obviously he's a Sheffield Wednesday fan. What did you get a chance to see that one at all, Shady? Or what did you think of? What do you think generally of Sheffield United this season?
Well, I have to say I'm quite pleased with their position, but I had expected Brighton to win that game, but that's the beauty of English football. When it is two teams like Sheffield United and Brighton, it can go anywhere. And it was a disappointing from my point of view, but it was a good win for Sheffield United.
I remember looking at the predictions last week and sitting there looking at them what I was going to predict for this week's fixtures, and I was struggling with a lot of the matches. Arsenal Everton was one I thought could go either way. Could be anything could happen there, and that. But Sheffield United Brighton was one I thought. Brighton probably going to pick up the away win there on current form, but it just shows, as you said, anything could happen, and that's when we go on to Wolves versus Burnley. So obviously we had H on the Sheikh El Sham, the guest the other week, and he picked up the curse of added time for a week. But then Burnley have gone against Wolves. Obviously we had Jolene on the other week, who's a Wolves fan, and Burnley went to Wolves and picked up a 4-0 win. So Chris Wood with a hat-trick in the first half, and then Westwood it was who put the nail in the coffin right at the end, and that moves Burnley up, I think, to 14th, 9 points clear of Fulham now, which is safe area, similar to Newcastle. Burnley all pretty much safe, and Fulham, we've all said since the start of added time, Fulham could escape that drop zone. It looks less and less likely now, and it looks like they'll be the teams that do get relegated definitely now. But don't rule anything out. Last 4 games of the Premier League season, anything could happen yet, and you never know if there's going to be point deductions going on or anything like that. Who knows? But Wolves, a real shocker there for them, and they've really, from a team who started so well at the beginning of the season, have really lacked coming into the second half of the season as well. Steve, what do you think? It's all come from this injury, hasn't it?
It seems to be, yeah. Again, not being a Wolves fan, I don't watch him overly closely, but it does feel like without Jimenez that they don't have that talisman up front, the guy that kind of gets them going. And I think a few of the players that started off well for them, like Pedro, like Neto, and team players like that, have kind of dropped off a little bit. I think Neves has been out injured as well, who I know is a big player for them. It's an interesting one with their manager. I mean, I know people in the comments, whether they're just trying to wind me up, I don't know, about Rodgers going to Burnley, but the Wolves manager, he's very highly thought of, and there is talk of him wanting a change. But to be honest, there's talk of him potentially going back home. Apparently, he's quite homesick. So whether he goes in the summer as well, that'll be a huge loss for Wolves, even if they have had an indifferent season.
Yeah, he's done a great job there. I thought Espirito Santo, really good. And what else have we had over the weekend? Oh, there was one other fixture, was Leeds versus Man United. So it's a shame Sonny's not here to talk about that one with us. But Man United, they still, it was a very small chance, but they still had a chance of catching up to City and putting some pressure on there at the top. And they've gone to Leeds, who's one of them, fiercest rivals. The Leeds and United there. There's no love lost there between the two teams. And they've, Man United look like they're just going to be happy for second place this season. They're 10 points behind City, 8 points above Leicester, and 0-0 draw. I didn't get to see that one, guys. I was in work, unfortunately. Didn't get to watch that one. But did either of you get to see that? What happened? How did that end up 0-0? Because that had, to me, I think I predicted something like 3-2 that game.
Yeah, it just seemed one of them games where nothing seemed to click for anybody, I think.
Right, yeah.
Yeah, it just a disappointing one for both sector fans, really, I think, in the end.
I'd say so, because, they'd both be staying for blood in that one, wouldn't they? And it just doesn't seem to have happened there. So that leaves Leeds, I think, leaves them 6 points off 7th place, which could be European places for Leeds. So if they picked up a win there against United, they'd be right up on the tails of people and pushing for Europe. So it's a big fixture for both of them. So obviously maybe that's what's distracted them there slightly. But I think can we have a quick look at have we got the league table there to see? So I think the top of the table's pretty much settled now with Man City top of the league. There you see it. And as we mentioned, United 10 points behind, but still 8 points clear of Leicester. It's this fourth place that's looking a bit more debatable, but I think Chelsea, have got that nailed on now. To be fair to them, and then fifth place that could be still. Everton have got a game in hand over us again after us having them 2 rubbish matches. They were on 54, Tottenham on 53, and Everton on 52, and then Leeds have snuck above Arsenal there and into ninth. So that fourth still could be up for contention, but I think Chelsea will, the way they've been, the form recently, I think they'll hold on to that unless they're majorly distracted by the Champions League, which could happen. They've got to play Real Madrid, but I think it'd be interesting to see how West Ham get on for the last couple of matches of the season. We are going to go on in a couple of minutes and do some predictions for next week's matches, so you can give us your opinions about that then. But what do you guys think about the top of the league? I think City have deserved it this year. Jay, what do you think?
Yeah, absolutely. They have been probably the most consistent out of the top of the table. So it is a deserved win if they do take the lead.
Yeah, and Steve, what do you think, my mate? I think third's a great spot for Leicester. Oh, interesting as well here, West Brom have scored a second goal against Villa. The second half's kicked off, and it's 2-1 to West Brom now. So there goes another one of my predictions up for Swanee.
Same, yeah.
But Leicester have had a great season so far. Steve, what do you think? Good position, finishing above Chelsea. That's huge, isn't it?
I mean, it's a fantastic position. Maybe the Leicester fan of 28 years in me would say that's not done and dusted yet. We need a win tomorrow. We've then got Newcastle, and then our final 3 games of the season are Man United, Chelsea, Tottenham. So we need to get this done and dusted in the next couple of games. Yeah, don't write us off. If any team can grab defeat from the jaws of victory, it's Leicester. So, and with the FA Cup coming up as well, is that going to be a distraction? Something that I thought we handled really well the other night, battered West Brom. I did worry. I thought, these players, is their mind's going to be on the cup final? But I think that again, that shows how good Rodgers is. City are going to win it. I thought last week when Man United won and City had dropped a couple of points, I thought, I don't know. You never know, because very similar to 2012, I think with 6 games to go, Man United were 8 points clear, and then obviously we had the Aguero moment. So, it's Liverpool could have done with that win, couldn't they, yesterday? And Chelsea look fantastic under Tuchel, unfortunately. So I think they could end up actually 3rd and Leicester finish 4th. We'll see.
We'll have to see. And can we have a little look at the bottom league as well? We better have a peek at that, because there has been some changes down there, hasn't there? It definitely looks like Sheffield United have gone, haven't they? And then West Brom and Fulham, they're just fighting it out between themselves. It's going to be West Brom have actually got a game in hand now over Fulham as well. It could sneak above them, couldn't they, in the league? But I think Newcastle, Brighton all pulling away, to be fair, and Burnley as well is really out of there now. Crystal Palace play against yourselves tomorrow against Leicester, so they're all clear now. I think it's there's the hope of Fulham of getting out of there now is really I think it's dwindled away, unfortunately. So I think that could be the end for them guys at the bottom there. But I think it's been it's been a very different season. We're coming towards the end of it now. It's been very different without there being any fans, and but then before the end of the season, they are going to be allowing some fans back in, aren't they? Didn't I hear? So the last game or 2 of the season will be in front of fans. So you just never know. There could still be some antics going on, and a bit of switching of positions from the fans being there. It could be ties that you thought might have been dead and buried, not as exciting, could just be brought back to life there. And who knows what surprises you could see. You could see Sheffield United having a big win against Man City or anything in the last week or so of the league.
Let's hope not.
You never know. You never know. Now it's been 7 added time, it's probably going to be cursed. So
it's usually what happens.
But guys, we're going to have a little bit of fun before we head off. And I think, first of all, before we do our predictions, we're going to do the cool wall. So this is the added time cool wall. So can we see the cool wall, first of all, please, Rich? Here it is. So sorry, gang, you're all out the way there. So we're going to be popping up a few random things. It could be team badges. It could be kits. It could be, who knows? It could be anything to do with football. It could be anything to do with wrestling. And you are going to have to put them into the table where you think these particular people or things go into the table. We've got legend, decent, bang average, lacking, and crap. So, Steve, Shady, are you ready for the cool wall?
Yes, let's go for it.
Born ready. Right, let's see who we're putting into the table first. Shady, you don't look too happy all of a sudden.
It's been a long day.
There we go. So the man who was let go from Tottenham earlier on the week, Jose Mourinho. And we'll go to Shady first. Shady, legend, decent, bang average, lacking, or crap?
I'd put him decent. I still want to like Mourinho, but I think he's maybe past his prime in British football.
Yeah, and what do you think, Steve? Where would you put him?
Right now, I'd put him in bang average. Overall, in his career, it goes down as a legend. He's won pretty much everything, everywhere he's been. So, even the spell at Man United, which was deemed unsuccessful, he won a League Cup and a Europa League. So he's a serial winner, apart from at Tottenham. But there we go. So overall, somewhere between bang average and decent.
So I think I'd have to say I've never been a huge fan of him, obviously, because I'm a Liverpool fan, but he is a bit of a legend, isn't he? When I saw him at Soccer Aid, he did. We mentioned this briefly last week, but he did snap Ollie Mers when he was the manager, so that was pretty special. So, and I think if you look what he did for Chelsea was massive, because I remember when Chelsea were a team who, didn't win anything. They were, a very sort of middle of the road team, and he won 3 Premier League titles for them. God knows how many FA Cups, and he's won Serie A with Inter. He's won with Real as well. So I think I'd be pushing towards legend, maybe.
Yeah.
But yeah, very good. Yeah, excellent. Good one for the cool wall today. Brilliant. Who have we got next? Oh, Shady, you don't look too happy again. Look a bit stern-faced. So, Arsene Wenger. So, I'll start this one off. What a massive contribution to Arsenal, first of all. I think some of the stuff that this guy brought in, you mentioned scouting before, Steve. He changed the book for scouting and training, dieting for players. Yeah. So, I would have to say for Arsene Wenger, he's definitely an Arsenal legend. Shame we didn't see much of him at other clubs, but he was at Arsenal for 96. He started there. He was there till 2018. So that's a heck of a career. I'd be tempted to put him in legend just for the Invincibles 2003-2004 season. But great manager, and I think he certainly inspired some future managers as well. And I think someone like Klopp certainly looks up to him. So, Steve, what do you think of Arsene Wenger?
I think you have to put him in legend for all the things that you've said. His contribution to modern football is very understated. Changing diets, scouting, training techniques, and all of that. And I know that obviously, again, another manager who the end of his career was deemed to be, a little bit of a failure, but he was consistently winning FA Cups for Arsenal. And during that lean period they had after the stadium, when they moved to the stadium and there wasn't much money and players were being sold mainly to Man City, under his nose, he was still finishing top 4 every season. And people joked at the time when he said fourth is an achievement, and it really was, because he was, I've seen, when you've got Bentner and Shamak up front and they're still at the top 4. I mean, that's it's a sign of a great manager. So he goes in legend for me.
And Shady, what do you think?
I'd have to say legend again, just for being a big part of Dennis Bergkamp in the Premiership, because Dennis Bergkamp was a great signing for Arsenal, and I think Wenger brought a great bit out of him in the English league.
They had cracking players at one stage. Overmars, Petit as well. Vieira, of course. Yeah, you could forget him. They had such a couple of talents there. That was crazy times, but excellent. So I think Arsene Wenger goes into legend category. And who else have we got today?
Legend. End of conversation. Legend.
Go on, Steve. Take it away. Tell us all about Mike Bassett.
Just legend. Took Norwich to the FA Cup final, beat Leicester, unfortunately, and then, unfortunately, the FA decided they had to go with an English manager, and the only one available was Mike Bassett. And forget your modern managers with your 4-3-3 and your false nines and anything. England are going to play 4-4. Effing 2, and that's what we did, and we got to the semi-final of the World Cup. What a legend.
I'd be tempted to say he's probably the best English manager of my lifetime, to be fair.
Yeah, no, great film. I love that film. It's so good.
He won the Mr. Clutch Cup, wasn't it?
Yeah, it was that. Yeah, it wasn't the FA Cup. Sorry, yeah, it was the Mr. Clutch Cup. With Gary Wackett in centre back. Can't go wrong, can you?
So straight into legend there. Shady, what do you think of Mike Bassett? A legend for you?
Yeah, legend for me. I think a few times I wish he'd actually managed the England team.
Yeah, he'd have to be a legend for me. Interestingly enough, guys, he was at my son's christening.
Was he? Awesome.
Where we had, that's a slight bending of the truth. Where the christening party was, he was on doing a stand-up in the room next door, but he popped in and did say hello. So similarly to your Gaza story, we had Mike Bassett at my son's christening. So
awesome.
Excellent stuff. So yeah, what a legend. Great stuff. And that's the end of the cool wall for today. Thanks very much, Rich, for providing those some crackers there. So managers in the cool wall now. We've had kits, managers. Who knows what will appear on the cool wall next week? But let's go for our predictions for next week's fixtures, guys. So we've got some cracking matches. We've got Leicester versus Palace is up first on Monday. I think I've predicted that already, but I can't remember what I put. We'll go with that anyway. I can recreate my scoreline if it's not the same as well. Whatever I say on this one won't happen. So Steve, you go first. It's your team.
I'm going to go. Yeah, I'm going to. Please don't. No, I'm hoping a comfortable 2-0 victory. Step closer to the Champions League. Carry on this confidence that we've got from the Cup semi-final and the West Brom game. So, yeah, I'm going to back us 2-0.
Excellent. I'm just seeing what I'm actually looking up my score to see what I put now. I actually put 3-0 to Leicester against Palace. So I don't know when I did that, but I was probably drunk. 3-0. Shady, what? Shady, what did you think? Leicester Palace. What would be your prediction for that one?
Yeah, I think 2-0 Leicester as well. I think that'll be a good result for Leicester. I think that'll be a solid performance.
It's going to be 1-0 Palace then.
It's gotta be. Okay, we'll move on. We've then got Southampton versus Leicester. Leicester on again this week. Is that the Friday night match?
Friday.
Right? Yeah, Friday. So Southampton versus Leicester. We'll go straight to Steve again for Southampton Leicester.
Football history would tell you that this is probably going to be like a bit of a revenge game for Southampton, but I'm not going to bet against my team. So I'm going to go with a 1-1 draw.
Excellent, Shady.
Yeah, I was thinking 2-2.
I'm going to go for. I think Southampton have been dreadful recently, so I'm going to go for a 1-0, 1-0 to Leicester for that one. Next, we've got Crystal Palace taking on Man City. So the champions taking on Crystal Palace. Steve, what do you think of that one?
2-0 Man City.
And Shady?
3-1 City.
And I've gone for 2-1 to City. The next match, Brighton versus Leeds. So Brighton could be raging after this week's match. And Leeds as well, probably not feeling too happy about a 0-0. But go on, Steve, what do you reckon?
I'm going to go 2-0 Leeds. They're pretty decent away from home, Leeds. So
Fair enough.
I'll go 2-0 Leeds.
Shady, what do you think?
I think this will be 2-1 to Leeds.
2-1. That's exactly what I've gone for as well. 2-1 to Leeds. I think Brighton have got a goal in them at home, but I think Leeds, very exciting team under Bielsa, and I think 2 goals could happen there. So next is Chelsea Fulham. Steve, what do you reckon? Chelsea Fulham.
3-0 Chelsea.
And Shady?
I think 3-1 to Chelsea.
And I've gone for 2-0 Chelsea in that one. So I think Fulham, though, have still put up a bit of a fight in the last couple of games, but things just haven't gone their way. And I think Chelsea are looking pretty decent at the moment. Next match after that, big one for Stu and Chris. It's Everton versus Aston Villa. So two of the longest standing Premier League teams, isn't it? Right from the very start there. What do you reckon, Steve?
Desmond, 2-2.
2-2. And Shady?
I think 2-0 Everton.
And I think Everton might just sneak. I'm going to say 2-1 Everton. Could be an interesting one. And we move on to the Sunday fixtures. So we've got Newcastle versus Arsenal. Steve, what do you reckon? Newcastle, Arsenal.
I'm going to go 2-1 Arsenal.
And Shady?
I'm going to go 2-1 Newcastle.
All right. I'm going to go for 1-1 because Arsenal have been really underperforming recently, and then Newcastle have been grabbing them results. So I think just a 1-1 draw for that one. Next is the big one next weekend, Man United Liverpool for my team, obviously. Steve, what do you reckon?
I'm going to go for 2-1 United.
Jamie?
Yeah, I'm going to go 2-1 United as well, and I think it'll be a late winner.
I think it was meant to be on the Saturday, the match, so I'd booked the Saturday off work to enjoy that fixture, which then got switched to the Sunday before I saw that. So I think I'll probably be in work when that one's on. I'm going to back my team 1-0 Liverpool. I think Man United have been a lot better this season, but I still think we've got the beating of them, and I think we need to show up and show a bit of heart, and hopefully this will be the match to do it. So going for a 1-0. I've been at Old Trafford twice when we've won 1-0, so I'm hoping for that for next weekend. And then we've got Tottenham, Sheffield United. So obviously John Scott's team there. Steve, what do you reckon?
3-0 Spurs.
And Shady?
Yeah, I think 3-0 Spurs as well.
That's what I've just written down as well, guys. So I'll go. I think it's obviously going to be a 3-0 victory to Sheffield United next weekend. We'll get you money on that. And Rich, are we going to do the Monday matches, or is that it? I think we're wrapping it up on that. Let's have a look what comments you guys have sent in during the show for us to deal with. Obviously, we've had Jeff from London's Burning on the show today. We've also what else have we had? Okay, Rambo, just watched this. Man City were amazing. Unlucky Spurs. Rodgers be the next manager, apparently, end of the season. Okay, so Steve's already spoke about that. He's not optimistic about that. What do you think, Steve? Is that a possibility? Could it happen?
Could absolutely happen, yeah. It could happen. It all depends. Depends what package Spurs come up with. I think it's going to take, like I said, it's going to take him a lot to get him out of his contract at Leicester. There was talk a while back before Arteta took the Arsenal job that Rodgers was going to take that, and then Leicester tied him down to a big contract and probably put a few clauses in there as well. I could absolutely see it happening. Hopefully if it does happen and it happens at the end of the season, then so be it. I just hope he doesn't walk away now, all things considered.
Yeah, fair call. Lewis Young said, hi, Lewis. Great to hear from you. So Lewis and John Scott, we got smashed today, but at least it wasn't a thrash. And he's right about that. It could have been.
Yeah.
So unlucky, John. I know it's tough when your team gets to a final, but can't make it. Carnage Payne, evening lads. Good to see you, Carnage. Question: do you really believe the Super League is actually done with? So, from a UK point of view, at the moment, it looks like it's done with, but it might just be a rethink on their behalf to try and win the fans over, possibly. Maybe putting in a few other stipulations like relegations and league positioning, actually factoring into it. Like, so if you win the Premier League, you can get into that or something. I don't know. It could be other ways to. Great, fans are back. Excellent. Yeah, Elsa, good shout. That crowd noise is what you need, guys, isn't it? It's all about it. As a wrestler, I'm sure Shady will tell you about that. It's all about that crowd reaction, isn't it?
Yeah, it definitely is. It definitely is. As much as I say I hate them, it'll be different if they weren't there.
We've all seen that T-shirt, Shady. And Phoenix Wrestling Association UK. Hey guys, hey Phoenix, good to hear from you. And Mark, hope you enjoyed the show this evening. I'll just let you guys know as well, we are going to be back in a week and 1 day's time. We're going to be back on the Monday night next week rather than the Sunday. So, that'll be episode... Are we doing an episode 13? all the predictions will get right that night. So, be all sorts of chaos going on. Mark as well, Brendan to Tottenham. Yeah, so... keep your comments coming in, guys. Someone said, what about deducting points? Yeah, I think, what would, Shady, what do you reckon about points getting deducted? What would be your opinions on that?
It's a tough one. It's always kind of, I don't like the idea of mid-season dropping them. I think it's best to start the next season on a minus rather than take them while the league's being played.
Yeah, I wouldn't mind them getting taken off us this season, really, if they're going to get taken off us. Not been our best year, unfortunately, but timing was off. Maybe Sam Rogers keep it. Oh, yeah. Rambo's agreeing with you there, Steve. Steve, it's gone awfully dark where you are. What's going on?
It does. I'm at the back of my hat and I can't reach the bloody lights. So
I have a sneaky queue with me just in case I need to change.
That's what I need. That's what I need. I
can get any of the lights around with a disco light on or anything.
I'll remember for next time. I'll start with the lights on.
Just have a ready wherever you are. You can reach any. If I get really angry, I can just smash the light off the ceiling or whatever, Here we go. They should just do a 90s TV show for you, Brett. Who did you meet, Brett? Rambo's met Paul Ince and Stan Collymore. Excellent, good calls there. I saw Paul Ince in the street the other way. So, right, Gavna. And John Barnes nearly ran me off the road. That's a story for another day. Brett is convinced that Newcastle, the Magpies, will get relegated still. I'm telling you, so there's probably get good odds on that now.
Yeah, you probably would. I mean, they've got Fulham, haven't they, on the last day of the season? So I think if Fulham win the next three, which will be tough because they have got Chelsea, if they win the next two, and then it's obviously goes down to that final game.
And Rambo with the big prediction here. If Newcastle go down, you're definitely a time traveller, Brett. So, a bit of Back to the Future action there from Brett. And it's still the day through it.
I know.
He's just fading out to the end of the show.
I can't. I am still here. I am still here. I can't reach the bloody light switch.
Oh, mate, amazing. Gongs going. I can just hear Paul Bearer.
Boom.
Oh, yeah. Oh, brilliant, guys. Well, it's been a great show today. Thanks so much, Steve, for joining us as always. Is there anything you'd like to tell people about that you've got coming up in the next week or two, apart from games and graps? Anything, any Twitter, anything you want to push?
Yeah, it's just Games and Graps, really. The Games and Graps podcast will be out next weekend. We're recording, I think, on Tuesday night. So check that out. It'll be on the Powered 4 YouTube, and it'll be on our own YouTube. And podcast is available everywhere on every podcast service. Yeah, I think that's about it, really. I can't see a bloody thing.
I can still hear you. I was going to say,
I am here. Oh dear! Epic fail! Epic fail!
Are you still there, Steve?
I am. I'm here. I can't believe how dark it's got all of a sudden.
That's amazing. It's still nice and bright here.
Must just be Hinkley. It's been known.
Whereabouts in Australia are you? Did you say?
Yeah. It's 4 a.m. here.
Good night, Mike.
Good night.
And once again, happy birthday, Shady. Thanks so much for joining us tonight. I hope you've had a great birthday.
Yeah.
And you've been great on the show. Thanks so much for coming and chatting to us. Obviously, at the bottom of the screen as well, the new time, Watch Added Time, live every Monday evening. We're going to be back every Monday at 7. So we'll have the build up to the Monday night matches there and everything. And Shady, what do you want to tell the fans about? What have you got coming up in the next few months? Have you got some wrestling shows back coming up and everything?
Yeah, there's I've got a few penciled in, but got to wait for official announcements yet. But yeah, if every week I put out a YouTube series called Pro Wrestling is Real Life, and that's just a past match of mine with me kind of discussing it. So yeah, that goes up every Wednesday, and if you're on Twitter, just follow me on at Shady Natras.
Brilliant. Oh, thanks so much for joining us, Shady. And I'd just like to welcome Steve to the show.
Hello, I'm back.
How you Steve? Fancy seeing you.
Usually get away with it 7 till 8, but I've rabbited on too much this week, and it's gone over, and the nights have drawn. It's not quite the summer yet, is it? So, yeah. Oh well.
I'll send you a lamp, young man, in the post.
I need one of them ring light things.
That's it. Yeah. Oh, brilliant. Hey, well, thanks so much for joining us tonight. I've been the Mad Dog, Mike Angus. Been joined here by Steve Watkins and Shady Natras on Added Time. This was episode 12. Please add any other comments that you'd like onto there. It's been a joy as always, and we'll catch you on Monday next week. Thank you, everybody.
Cheers.